Hi, welcome to ShowMeTheCurry.com. I'm Hital.
I'm Anuja, and today we're going to show you a very rustic bread or flatbread from India, Bajra Roti, also known as millet.
So here's our Bajra flour. We're going to add whole wheat chapati flour, salt, oil, and we're going to mix all of this together so that all the oil gets incorporated into the flour.
Now we have added oil to this, but traditionally a lot of Rajasthani recipes do not add oil. But we've noticed that if you do add a little bit of oil, it just makes it easier to make the rotis. Otherwise, it tends to be very crumbly and very hard to work with.
And once this is mixed in completely, we can add our warm water a little bit at a time and form a dough. And once your dough comes together, you can just knead it for 1 or 2 minutes and smoothen it out. Now, anytime you're making dough, we always give you a reference point of how much water to use, but depending on the quality of your dough, how old it is, what kind of wheat or grain it is, it absorbs more or less water. That's why we always tell you to add just a little bit at a time. If you dump everything in, you can't take it back. So if you do it little at a time, you might think, this is enough. Basically, the dough needs to be soft but firm at the same time where it's not sticky.
And like we do with all doughs, we always smear a little bit of oil on top so it does not form a crust. So we're going to cover it and allow it to rest for about half an hour.
So we're back. Our dough has been resting all this time, and we're ready to make our rotis.
And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grease my palms lightly with some oil and just give it a knead.
So we already have a tawa or a skillet heating up here because before we put the first roti on, we want to make sure it's nice and hot and seasoned.
And here I got a little ball made for the dough for the roti, and we have some bajra atta for dusting. I'm going to just grease my palms a little bit more because they're getting a little sticky. And try not to use a rolling pin, so just use your hands. That's the reason why we are oiling our hands a little bit, and just start moving. So this is one reason, this lazy Susan. So this is not meant to roll the dough chapatis. It is a lazy Susan, so it moves around, but in this particular recipe it works out very good. And I think it's just a matter of getting used to it. So I'm going to turn around and just kind of keep going round and round and keep spreading it a little bit. And at this point I'm just going to dip it in the atta. There you go. I'm trying to give it the rustic look, trying not to make a circle, a perfect circle.
And you're succeeding.
Very well. Thank you. It takes a lot of effort and it takes a lot of practice. So this is ready. Is your tawa ready?
Tawa is ready.
Okay. And I'm going to gently pick it up. And it's very fragile. And just put it on a hot tawa. And I will go on to the next one.
And when you see bubbles appearing on the top of this, you flip it over and cook the other side.
Amazing how these women, or even like little girls, they just do it. I don't know. Even with atta, it needs a little bit of practice and a little bit of, you just have to be very careful. But it's such a rustic bread and so tasty and so different, from your normal chapatis.
So once the roti has been cooking for about a minute or a minute and a half, I'm going to turn up the heat and take it over. I have a pair of tongs here, and we also have a little mesh that I'm going to put over here, and this is going to give it a nice rustic char to this. If you absolutely don't have this, or if you have an electric stove and can't do this, it's fine to fully cook it on the tawa also.
Yeah.
Just gives a little extra oomph.
But you know, at every stage you have to be very careful. It just kind of breaks the atta, I've noticed, and even while cooking, if you notice cracks, it just tends to very easily just crack. So, and it's okay, but it's
that's the characteristic non-gluten factor of millet, and that's perfectly okay. So this is good. This is not a roti again that puffs up like our normal rotis, you know, big balloons, but they still taste great. And as soon as it's off the tawa, we're going to smear it with some ghee.
it has to be ghee.
Yeah.
You cannot skimp over there.
And if you're eating this immediately, it's ready to go. Otherwise, you can keep it in an insulated container until all of them are done, and enjoy it with your family.
Right, but I think they're just so wonderful off the stove. So if you can, you know, possibly even feed your family, you know, immediately.
Yeah.
Oh, it is so good. So this is excellent. You can have it with your regular food, but try and have it hot. They're absolutely delicious.
Absolutely.
So enjoy your Bajra roti and join us again on another episode of ShowMeTheCurry.com.
Adding a pinch of spice to your life.